snap that 8-game losing streak. Plenty of positives, though, for G. Ray Johnson, who is sitting in. He'll go out the rest of the string as the head coach. Sharif Fajardo, though, the one to look for. 13 rebounds against BYU. Best on the boards for anybody for UTEP. Dave Bliss, good thing going here with Dave as head coach. 8th year in New Mexico. Charles Smith, his leader in the backcourt. 5th in the WAC in scoring. He's got an average of better than 18 a game as the Miners win the tip and control it to start the game. 8 millionth fan went through the turnstiles earlier today at the pit in Albuquerque. 30 years of great college basketball.
Joel, New Mexico opens up in man-to-man. They'll do a lot of switching, also some 2-3 zone throughout the afternoon.
The Miners off the mark as Kamani Jones-Young a little bit long, but I wouldn't be surprised if they used a lot of the shot clock early in the contest.
Well, they will. They want to slow the pace of the ball game down. Very important for UTEP to hit perimeter shots. They are not a good rebounding team.
Back door is there for Clayton Shields. Now they will sit down at the pit, and we'll be able to see the court because we're a few rows up. But at least we think they'll sit down.
Well, they need to sit down. I'll go ahead and say it. UTEP in their half-court offense. A lot of flex cuts, a lot of the UCLA high post look. They want to take advantage of the shot clock.
They're inside of 10 on the shot clock. Primozic not closed on a 5-footer in the middle of the paint. Shields collecting the loose ball. The break is there. Smith for Thomas. And a foul coming up on the Miners, and Engels helping out. Well, Kenny Thomas got into it with JoJo Garcia in the first matchup between these two teams, so we'll see if they'll let him play early.
Well, both guys like the physical nature of style of the game. Kenny Thomas, really a wide-bodied freshman, and runs the floor well, puts a lot of pressure on you defensively in transition.
Shields, but they'll get another try. Charles Smith with the offensive glass. The foul on Sharif Fajardo. Schornstein with a strong move early on the baseline. Other scores in college basketball. Good one going on in Athens. All 4 losses as the Lobos come in at 17-4. All 4 in WAC play, Western Athletic Conference play. Smith, his defender fell down with an easy one.
Well, Smith can really score. I mean, he's taking a team-high 14 attempts a game. Not just a three-point shooter. He can penetrate, create his own look. Very talented offensive guy.
4-0 lead. Miners a little bit tentative at the offensive end their first couple of trips.
Again, in that flex offense, you'll see a lot of baseline screens, a lot of cuts from the weak side to the strong side. New Mexico defending very well right now.
Great read by David Gibson. Smith for 3. Uh-oh. It could get away very early today from the Miners. Charles Smith with 5 of the first 7. Timeout and a 20 for UTEP. Looking back on what has developed for both these squads so far this season. They've got better than 15,000 on hand at the pit. UTEP started out at 10-2. They have not been able to rebound all that effectively recently. 8-game run in the wrong direction. For New Mexico, though, a very consistent play all the way around, and especially the perimeter shooting. That is strong. 6th best in the country, 50% from the floor.
Well, a very good rebounding team as well. Another stat that's not up there is New Mexico holds opponents to 41% shooting from the field. They play outstanding team defense, and they are very, very difficult to defeat in the pit.
We spent time with Dave Bliss talking about being aggressive and attacking despite the time of the game or the score. And right now, UTEP is not attacking at the outset.
Dave Bliss told his team yesterday how we approach the first 8 or 10 minutes will dictate this ball game. UTEP down a little bit in confidence. You can't let them stay with you.
Schornstein with the steal. Shields saves it on the baseline. Wide open is Shields, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2, fouled by Garcia. Unselfish play.
Well, you see the importance, Joel, of UTEP to hit some shots, because right now they're not getting any second looks, and it's triggering the transition game. Look at Shields. I mean, this team is very athletic. Here's a 6'8" three-man taking it strong to the bucket. And they're very young, only one senior in the entire lineup. No starters.
Clayton Shields, a sophomore from Baytown, Texas. He set a new record last year for rebounding for freshmen in Lobo history. That has already been eclipsed over the first 20 games of the year by his floormate Kenny Thomas. 2:58 into the game. Already a 9-0 lead for the Lobos. And nearly a steal. Tenacious play by Gibson out top.
UTEP staying very deliberate in their half-court set. There's a nice high-post screen, frees up the shooter.
And Mark Ingles, a senior from Mesa, Arizona, comes through, and they desperately need it. It's a good movement without the ball as they finally found Ingles. Kenny Thomas posting up. And Shorenstein fouled from behind by Fajardo. Good rebounding position. Back to that last offensive sequence, though, for UTEP.
Well, it's a good look for UTEP. They free up Ingles on the baseline with a little UCLA high post rub action at the elbow. And Ingles can flat out shoot the basketball. I mean, this is a team that's dominated by their guard play, Ingles and Davis and Young. And when those guys are shooting, this UTEP team is very good.
Fajardo just picked up his second foul as they take away the inbounds play from Charles Smith. Ingles leading the break. Kamani Jones-Young gets the roll. And 4 straight now by the Miners as they're down by 5. Kevin Beal into the lineup for the first time for UTEP, taking over for Fajardo, who picked up that second foul. Beal, a senior from Manual Arts High School in Los Angeles. Shorenstein looking for Thomas. Shields again. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2. Outstanding position. He's only a sophomore.
Well, he's very active, a real slasher to the basket with or without the basketball. But you see the defensive pressure that is applied to Thomas when he catches in the lane. They're going to run and double team him.
Foul called on Carl Davis, his first. Shields has already hit a couple of free throws. He's been the Lobos' best three-point threat this year. In fact, second best in the lacking three-point field goal percentage. He's 3 of 3 at the line. He has dropped off considerably over the last 6, though, after hitting almost 50%. The last 6, he only hit 30%, so he's down to 41% in three-point land. 1 of 2, and a 6-point lead now for the Lobos.
Joel, you make a good point. It's one thing to be deliberate in your half-court offense and get high percentage shots like that, but you've got to stay aggressive. That one came off about the second pass. Good look. You got to take it.
Jojo Garcia, his first 2. Little follow away on the baseline. Charles Smith can't answer. And Kevin Beal with the rebound. Kamani Jones-Young had ideas from 3. It's only a 4-point deficit now for UTEP as they've got the ball on the offensive end. They wanted to walk on Garcia. Ingles for 3. And Garcia takes it away from his teammate Beal. Pocket pick, though. Kenny Thomas and Shorenstein combined there. Shields left unattended. And almost fouled by Garcia again. Real breakdowns defensively inside.
Yeah, I was just going to say, where's the awareness? I mean, you got a guy standing right in front of the basket in Shields that can finish. Breakdown in communication.
What a start for Clayton Shields. The three-pointer right there for Carl Davis. His first points of the contest, the senior from Chicago. Back to a 3-point deficit.
Mexico really uses that high ball screen well to get their offense initiated. Thomas, a very good passer at 6'9" up top.
Rebound for Carl Davis, one of the smaller guys on the floor. Acrobatic move by Kevin Beal. That's where he's best, around the basket, not 15, 16 feet away, even though he likes to shoot it out there. And we've got a 1-point ball game despite that sluggish beginning for the UTEP Miners.
Well, I'll tell you why. UTEP is cleaning up the missed shots right now for New Mexico, only limiting them to 1 look.
Blocking foul away from the ball. Kenny Thomas picks up his first. An 11-3 run ride now for the Miners of UTEP. They'll have it when we come back, and that run has been sparked by their play down on the baseline. Shields has done it, though, as well for the Lobos.
These days, you're working harder than ever. You need a truck that does, too. Introducing the all-new 1997 Ford F-150 with a tough new suspension.
Don't move.
A standard new third door to make life a lot easier. A stronger new frame.
I'm driving.
And the new Triton V8 with even more torque and horsepower. The all-new Ford F-150.
Better get to the Grand Canyon before we do.
Hey there!
What's up?
Oh, thanks for stopping, bud. I've been waiting out here forever.
You just passed me.
I'm out of gas.
Your car is still running. Weird, huh? Very.
It's in flames!
I don't think so.
But I love you, man!
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down,
You're not getting the Bud Light!
make it a Bud Light.
Where's the love, man?
Miners of UTEP have to be pleased with where they're at after that real struggle at the offensive end. They need to work at the defensive end like New Mexico has been doing with help defense, Jimmy.
Yeah, New Mexico, you don't hold opponents to 41% shooting without getting some help inside. That time the ball was dribble penetration. Watch Schornstein, he rotates over, gets a hand on the ball right there. I mean, that's just good help defense, reaching in, comes up with a steal and results in an easy 2 points. And there's a look at the big freshman right there, Kenny Thomas.
This is the 125th meeting between these two schools. The last four have been close. In fact, the last two here on the home floor of the Lobos have gone into the extra session. Well, after missing their first three, UTEP now with an opportunity to hit their sixth consecutive at the offensive end. Beal. And he draws the foul from Cartwright, who just came in. Marty Cartwright, a senior from Los Angeles. All of a sudden, he is picked up in his minutes played. Very few over the first 19 games, but over the last couple, it's been an appreciable difference.
We look at Dave Bliss, and again, he told his team the importance of getting off to a good early start. And another area of concern is turnovers. I mean, they lead the WAC right now at 15 turnovers a game. And that's an area you know you want to see improvement this last month.
Beal only a 65%er at the stripe so far this season. He'll try to tie it up for the Miners. And yet to lead in this game. It is even now at a dozen with 13:29 left in the first half. Royce Alney in the game for the first time after that last time out.
Joel, you watch David Gibson, the point guard for New Mexico, number 32, really in a shooting slump. UTEP decides to back off of him and make him knock down a 15, 16-foot shot. There it is.
Just inside the three-point line. Sergio Garcia helping out his teammate Beal to seal it off, but a foul on Clayton Shields. Other scores, Big Ten, Wisconsin by 5 at the break. So Clayton Shields picking up his first foul. That is the third team foul on New Mexico, compared to 5 team fouls thus far against UTEP. First time these two teams got together this year. UTEP led by 17 at the break before they lost it by 4. Garcia doesn't draw the rim on that one. Conrad with the rebound. Big Gibson's little gunshot. Taken away by Beal. Garcia falling on Gibson. Loose ball goes to UTEP.
We make a good point. Gibson Only like 3 out of 22 for his last 22 field goal attempts from beyond 12 feet. His game is a penetrator, and teams are now starting to really back off of him. He's got to knock down some jump shots.
Much smaller lineup in there now with Spiller. It's like a 3-guard set with Davis and Ingles. Ingles all the way. Fingertip roll, early release. And now it is the first lead of the game for the Miners by a couple.
The guy can play. He's more than just a spot-up shooter. I mean, that's what his forte is, that three-point shot, but can take you off the dribble. Hard to guard, Mark Ingles.
Well, Mark Ingles, blue-collar type, very consistent player out of Mesa, Arizona. The coaches love this young man.
Well, again, Joel, the scouting report is when he catches it, rush at him, but here he shows the ability to put the ball on the floor and drive by and finish the play, which is very important.
Don't forget today on Up Close, Roy Firestone is going to be interviewing NBA All-Stars Hakeem Olajuwon, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, as well as Penny Hardaway. Up Close NBA All-Star Special. That is today at 5 o'clock Eastern, right after our college basketball. Later today on ESPN. Well, now New Mexico has gone cold from the field after they started off hot, and UTEP has picked up the pace.
New Mexico, again, they shoot 50% as a team, which is outstanding.
2-point lead for the Miners.
Defensive change for UTEP, a 2-3 zone. Now you have to have an awareness where shooters are. Right now, it's Smith, number 5 from New Mexico. That's who you have to shade.
Smith for 3. That didn't look like Charles Smith to me.
No, but very good defense. The defense rotated over, a hand up on the shooter. That's how you cover in a zone.
We'll come right back to Albuquerque. All right, Chris, with a 2-point lead here in Albuquerque for the Miners over the Lobos. Inside of 12 minutes to play in the first 20. 8-0 run now for the Miners. G.Ray Johnson, of course, sitting in for the rest of the season. He has been with the Bear Don Haskins since 1989. So he's going to run the squad. Bear talks to him every day, though.
I'm telling you what, it's very important defensively if you're trying to cover this flex offense. You must jump in the direction of the pass every time the ball's moved, because again, a lot of weak side cuts, a lot of flashing to the basketball.
Daniels looking for help. Shot clock inside of 10. They better hurry. Spiller recognizes the situation. Will he get it off in time? Beal, yes, just beat the buzzer and gets it. And there may have been a 10th or 2/10 at the most left when he released it.
Well, they don't want to take that much time off the shot clock every time down, but it worked to perfection for him. Great penetration, and Beal exposed himself and caught and shot.
Foul away from the ball for the young man who just came in, Daniel Santiago. 7'1" sophomore from right here in Albuquerque. A transfer from New Mexico Military Institute in Roswell. Most thought he was going to spend 2 years there. Rick Majerus was interested in the young man, a number of coaches. But Dave Bliss with a real recruiting crew there.
Dave Bliss said he's never seen a young man develop as much in 1 year as Daniel Santiago did. And he's a legit 7'1".
Beal. And a save by Schornstein, who had effectively taken it away earlier. 4-point lead for the Miners. A long time now since the basket for the Lobos. Santiago against Bamba. Put it to the floor. That can be a mistake for a big guy.
Just about every time.
He had great position to begin with. Inside of 10 of the shot clock. Aldney for 3. That's his first shot of the game. He is perfect. And it's a 1-point lead for UTEP.
And that's a big shot for Aldney, because now he's really struggled shooting that ball in whack play. 21% from beyond 3. That was a confidence boost for Royce Aldney.
Smith almost takes it away. Good aggressive play at the defensive end continues for New Mexico.
Well, if you're New Mexico, you can't get tentative defensively. I mean, you got to make sure fundamentally you're doing things containing the dribbler, jumping to the ball, but you've got to keep the pressure on, not allow UTEP to just constantly turn that thing over and over and over. They'll pretty much manufacture a high percentage shot if that's the case.
Jonathan Bamba will sit down. Jojo Garcia back in now for the Miners. 19 left on the shot clock. Still that three-guard offense. Carl Davis. Beal kept it alive and gives it to Garcia, who can't make an easy one. How do you miss the rim, Jimmy?
Yeah, when you're 7 feet tall and you're right underneath it, that's hard to do. That was a big play.
Seems like you can slam it pretty easily. Smith, will he answer? Yes, from three. The lead again for the Lobos.
I tell you why Smith is such a tough scorer on the perimeter at 6'4". He always elevates, gets a good look at the rim, and doesn't force shots. I mean, he understands shot selection very well. This entire team does for New Mexico.
Take away Charles Smith. Pick the pocket of Spiller. And he'll go to the line to shoot two. It all starts at the defensive end. We talked about it earlier.
Well, it does mean you got a guy inside Santiago that can alter shots. And now here's what you're talking about. Watch Garcia pick it up. I mean, from right there, just go up and flush it. And tries to finesse it at the end, and it doesn't go. And what does that trigger right here is, you see Smith, I mean, the guy knows how to score. He gets it, takes it right to the rim, and a hard ball foul by Spiller.
Garcia stays in there. Spiller will sit down. And Kamani Jones-Young back in now for UTEP. Charles Smith to the line to shoot two. Junior out of Dunbar High School in Fort Worth. Fifth in the WAC in scoring. He has 8 so far today.
Yeah, and he also leads this team with 43 steals on the year, and that's what's gotten him to the free throw stripe this time.
9 points for Smith and a 3-point lead for the Lobos. It's been a game of spurts already for these two teams. Davis got away from Smith and capitalizes. Nice little seal after he took that handoff.
Certainly came off a little ball screen and penetrated, jumped up and shot it. The guy's a scorer. A real luxury to bring off the bench someone getting you 15, 16 points a game.
Gibson very quiet offensively. Thomas tried to shovel it inside, forced that pass for Olney. 3 orange jerseys around the ball.
You know, and Thomas has 63 turnovers on the year, only 39 assists. He's a very talented passer, but at times tries to force the issue just like that last possession. Freshman mistake.
Garcia asking for it. And he's blocked. And he's blocked again, but the call to foul on Kenny Thomas. Garcia will go to the line to shoot two.
Well, appreciate the effort by Garcia. Watch him, he catches it in great catching position right there just above the low block. Misses it, but now stays after it and goes up strong. Boy, that's a lot of leather up top.
Left hand underneath, though. A little shove down low. Second foul on Kenny Thomas. We documented at the top of the telecast. Needs only 12 points to set a new Lobo freshman scoring record, but he has not scored so far. So we've got 7:21 left in the half. And Kenny Thomas is going to sit down with a second foul, and Daniel Santiago comes back in.
Well, now JoJo Garcia did the job defensively on Kenny Thomas in the first matchup, held him to 2 for 4 field goal attempts during the game. So Garcia likes a physical style of play, and Thomas is going to have to adjust.
His second free throw, and he can't tie it up. Although Garcia looked better at the free throw line than he did from about a foot or two away from the basket.
Hey, Drew Iron, that's an improvement.
Schornstein for 3. Santiago kept it alive, but it's ripped away by Garcia, who may have walked a little bit. Miners trying to take the lead. Alney with the steal. He's got Gibson for the easy one. Lobos led it early by 9. 9-0 to begin the game, and now they lead it by 3.
Couple of keys always when trying to win on the road. You've got to hit shots and eliminate turnovers. Turnovers result in easy basket. The crowd gets into it.
Ingles, what a stroke. He gets the three-pointer, and we are even now at 21. position. He finishes. Got Garcia on his hip.
Yeah, to see what he did. Kevin McHale moved right there. He caught the ball, kept it high, and scored. I mean, a lot of coaches use a drill called the McHale drill, and that's what it teaches you. Catch it, keep it high, get it down.
Carl Davis thought about going to Beal, and Santiago made him alter the shot, and Santiago after it. Garcia's got it. And look out. Olney making sure Garcia didn't get up.
And David Hall making sure both of them didn't get it up.
Alternating possession arrow. It belongs to the Lobos. Fajardo and Bamba ready to come back in when we return for the Miners of the University of Texas El Paso. Be right back as the scrum continues. 2-point lead for New Mexico. Lobos at a 17-4 clip so far this season in a key conference game. They're 11-1 at home, and they've got a 2-point lead over UTEP with 5:43 left. And Santiago learned from that previous experience about 5 minutes into the game where he put it to the floor. This time didn't go down with it, Jimmy.
Three things I want to point out. First of all, look where his feet are. At the mid-post, that clears out, no weak side help. The target hand, then he keeps it high and scores. And again, Kevin McHale, probably the best to ever play the game at catching that ball and keeping it high and not letting those smaller defenders rotate in. Three very important things. Where he posted, showing the target hand, kept the ball high.
No way one of those little guys was going to get it away as they picked his pocket on a previous trip earlier in the game. Thomas on the bench, 2 personal fouls, and yet to get a point. So the problems for Thomas, and he may stay on the bench with those 2 fouls for the remainder of the half.
Again, UTEP, a little bit of a matchup zone, and you've got to cover shooters having awareness. They got 2 of them on the floor right now, Olney and Smith.
Damani Jones-Young with the rebound. They're going to need their guards to rebound when they go to that smaller lineup. Fajardo back onto the floor along with Bamba. Jones-Young, a little daylight there. Clayton Shields didn't get to the baseline. It is tied at 23.
You know, Jones-Young reminds me a lot of Antoine Gillespie that played last year for UTEP, their all-time leading scorer. A smaller version of Gillespie. Understands how to score, doesn't force things. But the flow, the pace, the tempo of this game definitely favors the Miners right now.
Santiago collects it. Olney for 3. And they're going to say his foot was on the line. Give him only 2. 25-23. New Mexico is led by as many as 9, up by a deuce. Pretty good rivalry partner. 2 teams that see each other twice every year. Jones-Young not close. 3-on-2 if they want it. Charles Smith adjusting nicely.
Well, that's a big-time move in transition. It was all triggered by the rebound and nice outlet pass by Santiago.
Final 4 minutes of the half. Very important now for the Miners.
Yeah, if they can keep this thing a 4 or 5 point ball game, maybe even cut into the lead a little bit, because the style favors them right now on the road.
Fajardo lost it. Good play defensively by Schornstein. Shields the trailer. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2. Clipped on the wing by Jonathan Bamba. And I bring up the final 4 minutes because it's been well documented the problems in this 8-game losing streak for the Miners of UTEP. The problems in the second half. And G. Ray Johnson, who's you're looking at right now, filling in for Don Haskins till the Bears is able to come back next year, said, we have spurts of 4 or 5 minutes where we just don't score a point. So we really are our own worst enemies. Usually it comes in the second half, though.
Yeah, and when you're not scoring points, you really have to sound up things defensively, and they haven't done a very good job on either ends of the floor in the second half. Look at that for UTEP on the year in the first half. Opponents only 29 points, but in the second half in the 40s, and that's entirely too many.
Couple of misses at the free throw line by Clayton Shields. Normally just about a 70% man at this fight. The Miners avoid that dry spell. Fajardo will try to. Kept alive by Bamba. Santiago has it.
That's not the shot you want out of Fajardo at this stage of the game. 15-foot shot early on the shot clock.
Spider, they call him. Long arms. Charles Smith sets up Shorenstein for a three. And they're going to say he was on the line once again. Look down, Greg. Olney as well. 6-point lead. Easily could be an 8-point lead. They moved that foot back just an inch or two.
Shorenstein's got a great stroke, 42% from the three. And interesting, yesterday afternoon, Joel, he came out for about 30 minutes and did the one-handed shooting drill. Teaches that elbow underneath the ball and wrist rotation the whole bit. Probably the best drill I've seen learn how to shoot the basketball.
Ingles.
He knows the same drill, I guarantee.
You said it.
I mean, that is a perfectly smooth stroke.
Sound like a golf instructor. Muscle memory, partner.
Well, that's a lot of it. I mean, you've got to do it time and time and time again. Repetition. And more importantly, repetition the correct way.
Santiago doesn't get the roll. Jones Young with the rebound. Inside of 2 minutes left. 3-point game. Ball slapped away by Santiago. Jones Young rolling around. They'll call the jump ball. And first it's going to be a walk. Jones Young was rolling. It'll go back to the Lobos. So with the turnover, we've got a timeout. Come right back with 1:47 left of the first half in Albuquerque. Identical, Jimmy, from the floor in percentages. Another look back at Shorenstein.
Well, watch Shorenstein. You talk about how to shoot the basketball. Hold it right there. Look at that elbow directly underneath the ball. The left hand on the side of the basketball. Therefore, the right hand can do all the shooting straight up. Great follow through. The release, the rotation, and the result. Just how you want to shoot the basketball.
I like the way you arched it from our position here.
It was in.
It through.
It was
Put
in.
The elbow close to the body.
It was a little short, but I think it was on target.
3-point ball game. They get it back out of the timeout after the turnover, the walk. Clayton Shields downtown. Bamba with the rebound. Lobos didn't want to go home after practice yesterday. Shields, Shorenstein, all of them sticking around. Jones Young short on his attempt from 3-point land. Santiago with the glass.
Again, they really back off of Gibson and play him for the drive. Therefore, his defender's always in that paint. I mean, he's always in help position.
Santiago then asking. Short again.
Man, I like Garcia's aggressiveness. I mean, he's had a couple of things not go his way, but he's playing with a lot of heart.
And a lot of body.
A lot of body.
He's banking down there. Sliding it back to Jones Young after the kick. Nice two-man game, wasn't it?
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, the little hesitation step by Young frees him up for the shot. They're right in this thing, Joel.
1-point ball game. Lobos will hold it for the final shot. Delta Faucet halftime report coming up next. Shields. Ingles with the rebound. Will he get it off in time? He beats the buzzer, but it won't be close. And we have reached the intermission at a surprising beginning after the way it started for the Lobos with a 9-0 lead after the first 3 minutes. At the break, they only lead it by one, 29-28. Let's head back to the studio now and once again join Chris Fowler. Chris?
Joel, thanks. Coming up on our Delta Faucet halftime report, plenty of scores and highlights in the Big East. Georgetown and Syracuse are battling. A tough day for Allen Iverson and the ACC. A classic, Carolina and Georgia Tech. That's coming up. Stick around.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Direct TV. It's personalized TV. And by the new Dodge. We're thinking ahead.
Mild surprise at halftime. Lobos up only a point over the Miners.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Just for Men, the leader in men's hair coloring. Cleanse away gray in 5 minutes.
The Lobos came in a heavy favorite at home at the pit, but surprisingly, they are only on top by 1 after break, 29-28. Joel Myers.
This is the first time all year that the big guy has been held to no points and no rebounds in the first 20-minute period. He's got to get aggressive. He's got to get involved in this basketball game. Does he not know how much we talked about him in the open? Was he not listening?
I think it got away from him just slightly. Well, the biggest surprise as we look at some of the halftime numbers, the rebounding total, because UTEP was going with a very small lineup most of that first half. Still, they outworked the homestanding Lobos on the backboards.
Yeah, and UTEP ranks at the bottom of the league in rebounding, and they've limited New Mexico to only 3 offensive rebounds, and that's very, very good.
So here we go with the start of the second half. Very quiet crowd for most of the last 10-12 minutes of the first half. They were into it when their team was on top 9-0 over the first 3 minutes. And UTEP has it to start the second 20. Good to have you with us for ESPN's college basketball this Saturday afternoon. We'll see if UTEP starts the second half the way they started the first half. Hopefully, for their sake, they won't. They were ice cold.
Well, the plan of attack for the Miners will stay the same. Again, use that shot clock and take high percentage shots.
Kenny Thomas with the rebound. Gibson the distance. And Kamani Jones-Young with the rebound. Ingles for 3. Tough break on the roll. Back-to-back boards for Thomas. Well, if you can't do it at the offensive end, that's the way to stay involved. Clean the glass of the defensive end of the floor.
Well, you've got to think that Dave Bliss laid a challenge on the young freshman to step up and have something positive first 5 minutes of this second half.
Schornstein cut off at the pass by Beal. Shields wanted a call. He didn't get it. Looking over at the official. Minute 15 into the second half. Still looking for our first points. Nice pass by Beal. Again, though, Jojo Garcia just can't find the handle. Kenny Thomas's first 2. He'll finish.
Now, Garcia was late in transition defense and left Thomas open on the block. When you got a guy down, you don't want to let him get started with an easy 2 points like that.
3-point lead now for the Lobos. A kick and a reset of the shot clock. Back to 35. The kick by Shields. Another look back at Kenny Thomas's first basket.
Well, he runs the floor pretty well, but Garcia just gets hung up on his own guy right there. Sure, a screen set by little guard Davis allowed Thomas to get the easy look.
Aaron pass. Thomas is there. Garcia had left his spot. Charles Smith floating. And Garcia bringing it down with authority.
You know, the crowd is up on their feet, Joel, and they're trying to really get involved in the game, but UTEP just won't let it happen. They're controlling the flow. They're cleaning up again the missed opportunities for New Mexico. Just need to take care of the basketball a little better.
Gibson poking it out of bounds. 17 left on the shot clock. But again, UTEP coming out of the locker room like they did to start the game. 2.5 minutes. They still haven't found a basket. Kenny Thomas moving up the ladder. He's 10 away now from overtaking Phil Smith. And eclipsing that freshman scoring mark.
You talk about a young team. There's 3 other guys on that freshman scoring list that are on the floor today for the Lobos. And their better days of basketball are still ahead.
Ingles off balance, fall away 3. Schornstein with that one. So again, UTEP has gone 3 minutes without a basket. Kenny Thomas posting up against Garcia. The reverse. That's using that big step and a half.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the problem is right now for UTEP are scoring. I mean, they've gone now over 3 minutes without a basket.
Second half problems for the Miners. Jones Young held by Shields on his way in. Don't forget to join us Monday night. Big Monday presented by Bud Light is going to get a delay of game call because we've got the 4th annual ESPYs. Presented by General Motors. It'll begin at 8 o'clock Eastern. Pre-game, though, don't forget at 7:30. Tony Danza, the host. 34 awards, 10 that have been chosen by you, the viewers. Should be another great night. The ESPYs Monday night. On the inbound series, Jones Young just lost it on his way out. Another rebound for Thomas. Short side of the transition. The kick out. It'll be a blocking foul down low first. They'll call it on Beal. Good move by Shorenstein, though. Ingles initially tried to draw the charge.
Watch Shorenstein. I mean, the defense cuts him off. Ingles tries to draw the charge, doesn't get there. Then the defense rotates over a little bit late.
That is the first foul on Beal. Thomas asking for it now. It'll count. He'll go to the line.
Somebody had a do-better talk at halftime, and he listened.
I think he went one-on-one with Dave Bliss. That was the isolation plan, wasn't it?
But I'll tell you what, though, now Dave Bliss, he knows how to handle the young man because this is a typical freshman. You're going to have up and down moments during the game. But look, again, shows the target hand, then turns and quickly gets it up on the glass. Same thing a moment ago. Watch this quick drop step. Boom, right there. Gets underneath, up and under the rim. And guy's got a little bit of finesse about his game as well.
Foul on the rebound, Shorenstein. 6 points for Thomas already in the second half after he was shut out in the first 20. And still the Miners looking for their first point of the second half. The dry spell reaching now the 4-minute mark.
I thought it was interesting yesterday. Dave Bliss told us that when he recruited Kenny Thomas, Connecticut was after him, North Carolina. He convinced him, hey, you can come here and be the man. There's our word again right off the bat. You don't have to wait. And he liked what he saw, and he's a Lobo.
Inside of 10 of the shot clock. Carl Davis way downtown and gets it with a rebound. Jones Young holding out. Charles Smith. So the foul takes us to a timeout. And UTEP needs it. They've got to get their act together offensively, down by 7. Early in the second half, a 7-point lead for New Mexico over UTEP. They have not been able to buy a bucket. The Miners 0 for 6 from the floor. And Coach G. Ray Johnson spoke with us earlier today about the second half problems for his team during the 8-game losing streak.
Well, we found in almost every one of those basketball games in the second half, we've gone 5 or 6 minutes without scoring a point. And that gets us ragged on the defensive end as well, and we're giving up a basket every time and not being able to make one. So we've identified, we think, that as being the problem, and it's not like it's happening just every so often. It's happening every game. So we've done a couple of things to try to correct that if we get in one of those slumps again, where hopefully we can run something where we can get us a basket, and hopefully that'll get us going again.
That'll dig you a hole every time, going 5-6 minutes without a point. As Smith lost it on the sideline, but it was poked away and knocked out by Jones Young.
We'll watch and see the next possession. UTEP has the basketball. What play they drew up in that last timeout, because he just talked about it. We go to a special set and get us a look. The next possession, we'll see what that look is.
Pick from Thomas, getting it back. And a blocking foul. It'll be on the little guy, Carl Davis. Yeah, will they give Kenny Thomas 2? Yes. He'll go to the line.
Well, Kenny Thomas is so dangerous at high post position, and boy, it looks like Davis, looks like he's set. But I tell you why Thomas is dangerous. He's a big screener up top, and then when the ball goes to the wing, you see what happens. He goes right down the middle of the lane, a big target. Tough to stop.
He's 0 for 2 at the free throw line. He's got 6 in the second half. 6 for the game. Trying to establish a new scoring record. Already owns the rebounding record. Make it 0 for 3 from the stripe as Jojo Garcia gives him another try at the offensive end. And he finds a seat as well. It's not like having a guard in your lap. 15-17 left in the contest. Thomas really active now at the offensive end as opposed to what we saw in the first half.
I think the best way to defend him is to continue to front him and get some weak side help.
Only got his man Ingles out of position. Uses the glass. Once Ingles left the floor, Only had a number of options.
Well, here it is. This is when UTEP needs a basket. They came out of timeout. They know exactly what they're looking for on this possession.
Davis almost losing the handle. 5.5 minutes into the second half. They still haven't scored. And there's the easy steal for Thomas. They're going to call. He's coming over the shoulder of JoJo Garcia, though. Telegraph that pass a little, partner?
Yeah, a little bit, but not a bad idea by UTEP. I mean, Thomas has 2 fouls, so in the timeout they say, hey, let's get the ball to Garcia. See if we can get a 3rd foul on Thomas, and they're going to come up with it. Didn't get the points, but something positive came out of that possession for the Miners.
So Kenny Thomas, 6 points, all in the second half, sits down with 3 fouls. And Daniel Santiago, who was productive in the first half, not so much offensively, but a presence in the middle. 7'1" young man out of Albuquerque. There's only a sophomore back in there. It is an offensive foul on Carl Davis. So the ineffective turnover gives it back to Dave Bliss's squad. They own a 9-point lead. Schornstein. Make it an 11-point advantage. And give him 3. They say he was behind the line. It's an even dozen now.
Well, the defense has gone south also for UTEP. I mean, that time they allowed the dribble penetration. No one rotated to a shooter. You're struggling shooting the basketball. You certainly have to fight it when you're guarding someone.
Call the reach in on Gibson. The penetration move by Jones Young. We talked about what a young squad this is for the Lobos of New Mexico. Very bright future for Dave Bliss's group. And he's been able to keep the Albuquerque kids right here at home, and that's a key.
Certainly, and there is some talent in this city every year.
Alney had ideas. Santiago really running the floor for the 7'1" guy.
Well, again, I mean, it's no secret. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but when you're down like this and you're struggling scoring, you have got to just fight it on the defensive end and try to get a steal, try to get an easy bucket. UTEP right now just not getting it done.
Still without a point, 6.5 minutes into the second half. They have given up, unfortunately, for G. Ray Johnson and his squad. They have given up 100 points over the last 2 games in the second half, 47 and 43. So when things fall apart at the offensive end, it puts so much pressure at the defensive end of the floor. As Schornstein goes to the line to shoot 2 with a foul on Beal.
You know, and I want to make this point about Don Haskins not being on the sidelines. There are some coaches, when their coaching style, Joel, that maybe when they're not there, they're not missed as much. Now, Don Haskins, when he's on the sidelines, he's always down. He's fighting it. He gives that competitive spirit and drive to his team.
He's a bear.
And he's a bear, and I think they missed that. I mean, right now, he would be over there. Not that G. Ray Johnson's not doing a good job, but he would be the intimidator on that sidelines, forcing those kids to get after it. And they miss him right now very, very much.
It is ballooned to a 14-point lead. The cutter, Jones Young, lost it. Gibson has it, and there's the foul. Now the frustration sets in.
Yeah, an intentional foul called by Steve Wilmer, and I think UTEP's going to take a timeout and try to talk about it one more time.
What a struggle once again offensively for the Miners. The University of Texas at El Paso, we documented that's what they worried about the most coming in. They were only down 29-28 at the break.
Well, it's no secret for UTEP. They are a guard-oriented team, and therefore you have to hit shots from the perimeter, and that's not easy to win on the road when you can't get anything done in the paint.
While the two teams talk it over, we will take a timeout as well with 13:09 left.
Sit back, and the Jacket.
Consistent, unfortunately, for the Miners.
Yeah, in a bad way. New Mexico shoot 50% as a team from the field, and you just don't see that a lot. I mean, that's a team that understands shot selection. They've got good shooters, good inside guys for some easy baskets, and now they're getting some transition points off of UTEP turnovers.
Well, they had the intentional foul just before the timeout with Kamani Jones-Young grabbing David Gibson out of frustration. No technical, but an intentional foul. So now UTEP has to work at the defensive end again. 7 minutes gone by in the second half. Almost hard to believe it could happen to them again.
Well, they're going to throw a different look, a little bit of a 3-2 zone. Try to change up the flow, the momentum that New Mexico has in that half-court offense right now. You better cover perimeter shooters when you go to this baby.
Shields on the baseline. Santiago lost it, but just like everything else, it goes right back to the Lobos. Shields for three.
Well, that's why it's a gamble when you're down to go to a zone. I like the idea of trying a different look, but I think New Mexico shoots the ball too well.
18-point lead. And that's almost an air ball. Fajardo battles his way, and he's rejected by Santiago. What else can go wrong? Only for three. That's what can go wrong. And now they'll say he was on the line. Give him only two. Timeout, UTEP. A 20-point lead for the Lobos. Left in the contest, and it is interesting, Jimmy, and right before we went off, we were looking at the zone that was out there as finally the Miners get on the board. Three-pointer there. That was Carl Davis. His first three-pointer of the game, but you've got to extend that zone if you're going to zone it against a team that's hit 38% of their threes this season.
Yeah, they lead the league, and again, why do you do that? Well, you're trying to find something that might get you back in the ball game, and that's what makes New Mexico a very, very good basketball team. If you're forced to play from behind, you go to a zone, they can shoot the ball on you. They're a good man-to-man team. They're dominating right now.
Shields seriously shielded off the smaller man, and not a bad lob by Shorenstein. He recognized the situation very early. So the big assist by Shorenstein.
In Mexico, they understand their roles, Joel, very well. They know who the shooters are, who the penetrators are, the rebounders. Solid defensive club.
Clayton Shields with the foul as we update you on other scores down around the Southeastern Conference. Tough save for LSU.
Yeah, notice Tubby Smith gets a win in the SEC, and Oklahoma State finally won in the Big Eight. I mean, that's not good when your shooting percentage is down below interest rate level, 10%. It's tough.
Spiller hitting the front end of the 1-and-1, a former Miner ball boy. JoJo Garcia on the bench. Sitting down with 3 fouls. And last foul, though, of course, on the Lobos, Clayton Shields. Team fouls identical now at 7 apiece, so every foul they'll be going to the line. Thomas got away. The little guy gets the call. Spiller, as Thomas will go to the line to shoot 2. Well, don't forget, tomorrow the NHL returns to ESPN. Lindros and the Flyers meeting Wasatch, Forsberg, the Colorado Avalanche. That is tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern. And don't forget, later today on the Deuce at LaFontaine. And the Buffalo Sabres matching up with the Leafs and their newest acquisition, Kirk Muller. The NHL on the Deuce later today. That's at 7:30 tonight, 4:30 out on the West Coast. Kenny Thomas with 6. Finally, it's a free throw. He's 1 of 4 with the stripe now. He's got 7, so he's 5 away from overtaking Phil Smith for the all-time freshman scoring record here at the University of New Mexico.
Here's another reason why I think that New Mexico is a very good team and has a real good chance of getting the NCAA tournament. They've shot 90 more free throw attempts on the year than their opponent. Now, why do they do that? They got guys that can drive the basketball and get fouled, and a good inside-outside attack. Dave Bliss has a very balanced squad.
Back to a 19-point lead. Ingles a little bit long. Smith for 3. Largest lead of the game now. It's at 22 for New Mexico. Charles Smith not far off his average with 14. Fifth in the WAC in scoring with an 18-point average per game. Good balance offensively once again for New Mexico. Shields with a dozen. 9 for Albany. 7 for Shorenstein. And that'll be offensive interference on Thomas. Credit that basket to Carl Davis.
What's the shot on the other end from Charles Smith? And he's going to rotate up. This is off of their secondary break. They swing it to one side and then double down for a shooter on the other. And again, it's a team that really understands each other, their game plan, their attack.
Thomas and Garcia on each other's Christmas list. They had double technicals, these two. Well, we're talking about in the first matchup between the Miners and the Lobos. Kenny Thomas back to the free throw line. Not much Garcia could do there, but trying to make sure he didn't get the shot away. Gibson with a nice pass on the 2-on-1 break. 9:06 left. The Lobos on their way to an 18-4 mark.
Kenny Thomas with the court injunction allowing him to play right now. The half credit shy coming out of high school on the science side of things. And he told me yesterday, he said, you know, what I learned through the entire ordeal was who my true friends are, who my support staff is. And he looked right over at Coach Bliss. He said, that guy right there in my family carried me through a really tough situation. And I learned through it that, Jimmy, life is not fair and how to adjust. And really a pleasant young man to be around.
Thought it was interesting as Dave Bliss also told us that what Kenny did was listen to his counselors, his academic advisors. So he took their direction. And then they came back and said, well, you're a half a credit short. Garcia walks. They'll give him a charge instead, but he walked along the way. Backing his way in against Kenny Thomas.
Well, Garcia is a catch it and turn and shoot type guy. He's not a finesse, drop step, try to maneuver after 2 or 3 dribbles. And Kenny Thomas just plays solid, sound defense behind him and draws the contact.
Picking up the pressure. The Miners now inside of 9 minutes to play. They're down by 21. This is a 1-point game at intermission if you joined us late. Shields and Bill with the boards. 29-28. Then they didn't get a point. We've seen it before with UTEP. The ball is stripped away by Albany. Didn't get a point over the first 7.5, almost 8 minutes of the second half. And that was it. Adios, amigo. Especially on the road.
UTEP with an out-of-bounds play called Arkansas. And Arkansas used to run that play a couple of years ago with Corliss Williamson, a real scorer inside. It's tough to defend. Garcia misses the shot.
Smith in the transition. Good D by Beal. coming down to 10 on the shot clock. Kenny Thomas. He had the edge if he wanted to against Garcia. They better get ready to fire. I guess Charles Smith heard me.
Yeah, he heard you and answered. And again, I mean, this is a very talented team. They can make plays like that with the shot clock winding down. Guys that can just jump up and stroke it.
It's been that way for the Miners. Fajardo wide open, 7 feet, 8 feet away. That was a line driver. Fajardo answers on the weak side. A lid on that basket for the Miners in the second half. A 22-point lead still for the Lobos.
I think an area that Dave Bliss will be happy with today is he has gotten great people movement in that half-court offense. Now, one of his concerns for this club right now, as he said, Jimmy, sometimes after 4 or 5 passes, our offense becomes stagnant. We stop and start watching. They've kept moving well today. The people movement, the ball movement, a lot of guys involved, and like you said, a very balanced attack.
And as you're talking about on that last play, perfect example. Charles Smith moving without the ball on the baseline, flashing if it's available.
Oh, they screen very well, especially on the weak side, flashing to the basketball. They just do a lot of things very well. I mean, they're looking at 5 of their last 7 games here in the pit. And then the conference tournament is right here in March. And
that won't make much of a difference for the Lobos, will it?
No.
Not much at all.
Now, this place is outstanding. I compare it to Bud Walton Arena in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which I think is one of the real classy places to play basketball. And I told Dave yesterday, I mean, we used to have some battles when he was at SMU and I was a player and also an assistant coach at Arkansas. We talked about Barnhill Arena and how Bud Walton has that atmosphere in Fayetteville. And this is a tremendous place to play ball.
Davis starting to warm up from three-point land. But it appears to be too little too late. A 21-point lead still for the Lobos. After those free throws for Charles Smith, he is now 12th on the all-time scoring list in New Mexico history. Kenny Thomas working on his threes for a half hour, at least a half hour, because he wants to play power forward, and eventually, when the big guys fall into place next year, he will be the power forward that keeps Shields at the 3 spot, the small forward.
We make a good point. That will be his position at the next level. That guy right there, his position at the next level is a shooting guard, Smith. But they list Thomas at 6'9" and 250. He's more like 6'8" and 270 right now. You have to learn to play facing the basket.
Right to Alding. Break is there for Gibson. And the foul for Shields.
I don't know about you, Joel, but I'd love to do that just one time.
We've got an offensive foul on the pick by Garcia. Listen back to that last dunk that Jimmy's talking about.
Well, it's going to be coming right at you. Listen up. Boy. That's
Decibel
big.
level is up at the pick.